Okay. Let's see if we are live. Okay, I think we're live, guys. I think we're
Yeah,
live.
we
Okay,
are.
I'm gonna do one more check. Hopefully everybody's here. I'm gonna do one more check here so I can see us, and then I think we're good. Thank you guys so much for coming to another Twin Flame Talk with Sharon and Marlana. We're gonna be talking to you about the Twin Flame journey. We're gonna be talking to you about um, overall overarching energies that you're feeling. As you know, we just came from I think it was the Venus transit into Taurus on May 14th, which was after the last talk we had. We've also had the full moon in Scorpio. I'm not an astrologist, but I just know there's a lot that's occurring that has brought us into a new cycle. So I want to say welcome, Sharon Andrea. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Greetings,
And
greetings, beautiful ones.
Sharon is, of course, an empath. She has many gifts that she's going to share with us today. She does past life regression. She can see past, present, and future. She can go very deep into your reading. She is an awesome healer. So we're going to talk to her today, and she also has a lot of awesome information for us about this twin flame path that many of us are on with the divine feminines and masculines. And this is just really about an awakening that we're all kind of going through, a change, overarching change for everyone, so everyone can definitely benefit from this. Sharon, would you like to give us a little information about your background?
Sure. Greetings, everyone. I am Sharon Andrea. My YouTube is Sharon Andrea, and also my website is www.thereturnofthegardenofeden.com. I am an empathic reader. I'm also on the twin flame path. I do a lot of energy reading when it comes to this path, whether you're on your ascension path or a twin flame path. Also, I have the ability to see into your past life and also connecting you to whatever information that you need to know in your present life, even if it's connected to someone. Greetings. So, we're here to bring on new information. Also, I'm going to give you some updates. I also do what do you call it, like I can connect to anyone who's also on the other side as well, so I'm also a medium. So
Mediumship.
there, mediumship, yes, and I can talk a lot. So, and I'm very detailed. Very, very detailed. So the one thing for me is for sure I wanted to say is that I'm here to help those to have greater clarity and also to be able to apply the wisdom that comes with the knowledge that flows with me. And there are times when I may speak in ancient languages and tongues, just to let you know, depending on whatever spirit wants for you to know and for us to know, because we're all here on a path of coming back to returning to the oneness and also to love. And that is my forte. That's right.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So I do want to start this session off to let you guys know that we will be doing personal readings for you, the two of us. We will give you guys the opportunities. We recognized the last time that some of you wanted to ask questions, personal questions. And so we will give you the opportunities to do those live. The information is in the bottom in the description below. Hopefully you guys can see that. If you don't, just let me know. But there's our PayPal information. It's only $15 if you want to get it live right here today. We're only going to go until maybe around 8:30 or so. So I'm giving you guys until about 7:45 to submit your questions via email, and then you can submit your donations via PayPal. And then I will bring your questions up to where we will then discuss it, and both of us will give you a message. Okay, so I want to say hi to everyone that's out there. I'm seeing Anastasia. How you doing? Milana. I'm sorry, I hope I'm saying that right. Milana, Nakia. Thank you guys so much for joining. Jennifer, Crystal. I appreciate you guys coming. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you again. Thank you again, Sharon Andrea, for coming here for us. So would you like to start off with any messages in regards to our feminine? Because to me, right now, I feel as though I was doing readings today, and I just really got really emotional when it came to a Sagittarius reading for the masses. And at the time, it was really talking a lot about just this, like letting go. letting go of past perceptions. And I feel like some of us are really holding on to a perspective of way things should look. And I feel like we need to really disband some of these myths on what really a twin flame journey is about. Really, this divine feminine, masculine journey, whatever that is for you, this strong pull that you have towards someone about whether or not you should feel guilty. And I feel, and I'm the first one to tell you, you shouldn't feel guilty nor ashamed of your journey, what you're going through. If you have these massive pulls with people, or not even just your masculine, feminine, I mean, because we're getting into a point where we're having massive pulls with your tribe, with people you came here with people who you're supposed to have a massive pull with, whether it be feminine or masculine, just kind of disbanding some of these myths that are out there to where people don't feel bad or feel ashamed or guilty. I really want to disband some of those myths out there. How do you feel about that, Sharon?
Well, what I speak about is how important it is to come into a balance. See, so there are some who speak about coming into self-love, but there's also another person in the physical realm that's involved here, and we can't ignore it. So it's about paying attention to the signs, the messages, and the synchronizations. Okay, I love to give my own real life examples because I know sometimes when we speak on something, it can seem, kind of trivial to the average person because they're like, yeah, whatever, that's your experience, that's not mine, so what difference does it make? So I prefer to kind of speak on some things to what I experience in the narrative of now. And each person may be able to relate to it to some extent because everyone is on different paths and different levels. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't
Right.
mean that one path is better than the other. One person may know more than the other because everything lies within your soul. Just remember that. And it's about awakening to what you know. And it's not, to me, for me, I don't say learning lessons. I speak on it as awakening to your true self. As you awaken to your true self, you're going to experience the polarities. You're going to experience the opposite of yourself as you continue to ascend to greater levels of consciousness, greater levels of love, greater levels of awareness of who you are and who that person or others who are part of your tribe. Okay. And it's all happening individually and collectively. And each person's path is unique and sacred. Okay. Very sacred. So as far as what I talk about with this journey is every time when if I find myself saying, oh, I don't want to think about this, and the next thing you know, you're getting the signs and the messages. So for me recently, I'm going to go back just a little bit because the full moon in Scorpio, what was going on for me, and there were others that this was happening as well. There was like a lot of transmutation or transformation, I would say, going through coming back into a greater power. And I felt like as if the Lilith in me was coming out even greater when it comes to being in my power, because there was someone that I have contact with in terms of a specific type of relationship, not tied to a love relationship, because it doesn't matter. There's always someone around you that something is relating to whatever's happening in the energies in conjunction to your own awakening, and it's also happening collectively. Okay, because what I find to be fascinating, what I do also is based on the readings that I'm doing, whoever I'm speaking with, there's something happening collectively when it comes to the divine feminine and also the divine masculine. And so what I was able to put together with pieces based on what I heard, based on my own personal experience, was being more empowered. Even if you have to tell people to go and kiss off, okay? Which I use other words. And it's seriously, it's like you could go through this over and over again with someone that's trying to tell you what to do, where to go, who to be with. It could be anything that this person may be, or persons are that you feel that you're being dishonored or disrespected or told what to do. And this is about how much more are you empowering yourself. And it's like I was feeling that deep intensity in my solar plexus, and it felt so painful, so painful. And so when I finally passed through that energy, because we have to keep passing through specific energies with this as you become even greater into your own enlightenment, okay? And what comes into that union energy for yourself or that person or anything that you're manifesting. And and it's like closing some of these chapters once and for all, closing these timelines once and for all, closing these timelines, okay? And so what I found out was that after that happened with me this whole week, I was facing this experience with this person. It's like I felt wake up feeling dread in my body, and it was really something. And so after I realized that I was able to get past that stage, then I did that live with Mike the Peace Dealer. And after the live, which was 4 hours and 40 minutes, okay, and it was the fourth episode. It was a very powerful, how do I call it, transmission that was flowing through me with, information. It's a lot of information. That information was coming from Uranus and Venus. And so what I realized after the fact, because it's nonstop for me when I'm getting the messages. So Uranus represents the father element, the masculine element. Venus represents, as they say, the feminine element, right? And it's also love, beauty, money, okay? All of that plays a part with this transit. And Uranus represents the sky element. So it's almost like as if something was switching places, and something, because each part of us is balancing the inner masculine and feminine, okay? And as we're balancing the inner masculine and feminine, it is also going to show outside of ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying? Because when I hear people talk about, oh, just focus on yourself and that's all there is to it, but it's also about that person that you're connected to, because you're having dreams, you're having visions, you're also going to probably be seeing things in the waking moment as well, to do with your connection to this person, your higher, that's connected to your higher self, and what is coming into a full element of the I am, with the divine feminine and masculine energy, okay? And as you're connecting to this consciousness also with the pair, what it is doing is it's creating a greater embodiment of this energy of oneness on the planet. And with not only with just raising the consciousness, but everything that we're shattering with all these illusions when it comes to relationships and these old relationship patterns that are breaking away, tearing apart. Okay. So so one of the things that I talk about is that we're navigating through some powerful transits constantly. Okay. It's like they show me everything and every second of the day, your body, your mind, your soul, your thoughts, your feelings, who you are is responding to every single aspect of what is transiting by specific degrees every minute of the day. So I may not be able to understand it completely as an astrologer, but when I tap in and I tune in, they show me that everything is still coming into its greater alignment at that moment. So after the live, I because I was feeling all this energy surging through my body. I'm sure you felt it too, right, Marlene? I mean, it was so powerful. There was just no, even that morning, I didn't go to sleep, which I normally don't go to sleep till like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning anyway. So, so what else is new? So feel free, if anyone didn't watch it, I have it on my YouTube, or you could check it out on Mike the Peace Dealer on YouTube, that 4-hour segment. It is a lot of information. When I look back at any time when I'm doing any speaking, which I will tell you this, I don't say disclosures. I say that I am used as a vessel through the Holy Spirit, through Mother God, as a vessel for everything that comes through for me. And I take it, I don't take it lightly, but I also take it lightly at the same time. It's like it's both, because I feel honored that I'm here with the strength that I have to be able to push through it. That no matter what anyone says, I know what I see, I know what I hear. And so when it happened for me, when information, everything is flowing through me, I know that it's something greater that's happening for myself and for others at the same time, how we're interconnecting all at the same time with what is happening within ourselves, and also how it relates to others. And so I told Mike, I said, I have a very funny feeling. I know that my twin Rondi, I know that he felt something. I know something that he was feeling too, because it's an energy that you share. So anyone who tells you that, oh, it's just going to end, it's not in this, that is false. That's false. Okay. Because they're you and you're them. You're going to keep feeling this connection all the time. Realize that whatever you are experiencing, they're experiencing it as well, but it may look different. It may appear differently. Okay. So I don't go by appearances, because that can be very deceiving. You know what I mean? All I know is that whatever happens on the inner is going to reflect on the outer. And I paid attention to even how Mike was responding to me. And the reason is because another thing that was shown to me was that a lot of other divine masculines are wanting to work with their divine feminine with
Agreed.
collaborating on
Yes.
things. And it may show up as someone else who's a reflection of your twin. And it's not just myself, but also there were two other people that the same thing was happening to them in a different way, but it's the same thing. So I also realized that there was less resistance with certain things. I also realized that there was more joy coming from him. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's the receptivity energy and the allowance that comes with the feminine energy. Okay.
Yes.
There was more recognition of beauty because there was another divine masculine that I came into contact with. And it was so ironic. And it's really, it's so subtle how the messages come through when your divine masculine is communicating with you. And when I
Mhm.
first met him, and he works on as a diesel tech. And he said, "Oh, he was dirty." And I said, "Oh, come give me a hug." And he was like, "Oh no, I'm too dirty." And I said, "No." I said, "It doesn't matter." I said, "Because this is unconditional love." And so
Mhm.
I hugged him. And would you believe the same thing repeated itself from years later, just a couple days ago? And I had a dream that day, that like the hours after the live, when I went to sleep finally, because I couldn't sleep. I was just full of so much energy.
Mhm.
And I dreamt that he and I came together up into each other's space, and we were hugging each other, and I said, "Oh, why don't you hug me better than that?" And he was looking at me, and he was dressed in a new suit, and he said, "Oh, guess what, Sharon?" He never calls me Sharon. He always calls me beautiful. He never ever called me by my first name. So in the
Mhm.
dream, he called me by my first name, and he said, "And I got a new car." So I looked it up, and everything had to do with the newness, beginnings. Do you see
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
he
Right.
is still my divine masculine. He is still me. I am him. We're one. Do
Right.
you see what I'm saying? And so I knew something shifted also collectively to do with who we were in the past and who we are in the present. So there's always something dynamically happening between yourself, your divine masculine,
Yes.
and your divine feminine that still comes together from the past and to the present. You see?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you're going through releasing things and shifting through things in layers. It's never just one time only. It goes in layers and layers and layers. And you will feel it within your solar plexus. You see what I'm saying? You will feel
Right.
it. You will feel it. So that happened the day after that. And I knew that something definitely shifted. Okay, I felt it definitely that something
Right.
shifted. And like
Right.
I said, I was able to put those pieces together and realize how powerful it was, like a merge with Uranus and Venus. In,
Mhm.
being that they're both in Taurus, they're still in Taurus right now.
Mhm. Right.
And it's like what was coming together as the integration of the feminine and the masculine with the Lilith and the Eve, the alpha male and the mega male. I also beta male, excuse me. And I realized that there are some males who are also, and I have to use males in this reference, who are
Right.
collaborating with the beta males. Like there may be some alpha males that are collaborating with the beta males because the beta males are a little bit more softer in energy. And what
Right.
happens is, like how sometimes with certain males, they're like, "No, I'm not going to listen to this. I'd rather listen to where it comes from a man's perspective." So it's
Right.
all filtering like little by little. And for some, they may be receiving messages coming from a beta male and they're more receptive to it because it's coming from a male person per se. But
Right.
then there's
Right.
some who also will be more receptive with it coming from the feminine energy through
Yes.
a
Yes.
female. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's still
Okay.
happening in all these integrals. And what it has to do with, again, balancing out the power that
Yes.
exists within us that we have held on to or had from centuries, and that it's not power over another, but the
Mhm.
power that's within, and that we're
Within.
still able to be sovereign with one another and not having control over another no matter what the circumstances are. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'll stop
Right.
right there in case you wanted to add or subtract or
Oh,
multiply.
no, no, not at
Yes.
all. No, that was good. Because, at one point, and I've felt this for many, many years where I always felt as though, and it was something you said in that in that broadcast with Mike, that, and I was like, wow, I've been feeling that. It's always been that way. Like, it was something you said in regards to the feminines giving up their power, some time ago, a long time ago. And I've always said this, and I was like, I don't know about what y'all believe, but for some reason, I've been believing this for like at least the last 15 or so years. And I would always say, I was like, well, I just feel like we gave up our power and it's just time for us to get our power back. It was just something innate in me that made me believe that. And then it was like, when you guys said what you said, I was like, wow, so I'm not the only one who believed this, because I've always felt as though at some point we gave our power away, whether it be to try to balance things out or whatever it was. But then things flipped the script on us. And then it became this patriarchal, mind frame where you had to do things, and it was just a submission to the man type of thing. It was not an equal, it was not an equal give and take. It wasn't that anymore, to where it just totally flipped on us. So the point is, it's just now. And so my purpose has always been in uplifting the feminine back to their power. It's not one over the other. It's just back to your original power that has been taken from you, stolen from you, that you've forgotten about, that you're not aware of for whatever reason. And I'm not going to say for whatever reason, because we know the reason, because we know the messages that are being sent out are specifically, to pretty much keep you in doubt, keep you in a kind of a submissive role. And I've just never been on that bandwagon. And even when I tried to be on the bandwagon, I couldn't do it in my rarest authentic form. I couldn't do that. Like, if I was doing it, it was to appease someone else. It wasn't necessarily because that's something that I felt was a part of me. That this was me being somebody else. And I would love to hear from the comments if you felt like you were being authentic to yourself by doing that, by submitting or what have you. And I told you guys that, in this broadcast, I can tell you now, this is not going to always be what you want to hear, because it's going to really break down some of the mind frames that you guys have had for so long. And it's going to be kind of hard for you to kind of switch. And some of you may have already felt it. Like I said, I felt it for over 15 years. But, again, I was still trying to take on what was told to me, albeit through religious beliefs, albeit through just the airwaves, through TV, through whatever it is of this role you're supposed to play. So I did want to thank you guys for, just confirming that for me. And again, I want to tell you guys, like, I've contacted Sharon myself. Just like you guys contact me, I contact other women that are powerful to, again, sometimes bring me into a better knowing. Like I said, the last broadcast, I used to, I still do readings on myself as well. I do get downloads myself as well. So sometimes I'm even fighting against this understanding, because again, the way in which I was raised, I was raised up in church. I was raised up with this mindset that this is the way you're supposed to do things. Even when I was married, and I've been married twice, and number 3's on the way, and I'm not shy for number 3, but nonetheless, through that process, I've been in you guys' shoes, where it's been, okay, let the man be a man. And, and I've had the church come to me and tell me, okay, well, there's something else you need to do. There's something else you may be doing wrong, or you need to fix this about yourself. And eventually they'll come on board and things of that nature. But all while shrinking you into a place where you no longer feel validated. You don't know who you are. You don't know who you're supposed to be. It's a matter of confusion. So all of that to say, I just wanted to put that out there for you guys who are out there confused about who you're supposed to be, confused about where you're supposed to go because somebody else is telling you one thing and you feel something different. It's time to, really, I know Sharon just said something against this earlier, come back into who you really are, this authentic person who you really are, because it's not really about, you trying to get control over your masculine or the masculine really trying to get control of the feminine. Right now, I've always felt like over the last, at least the last 15 years, probably longer, that the women that the feminine just needs to rise up to their power. And their power is not going to be diminished by the masculine's power or vice versa. This is about the feminine rising up to your power. Simple as that. But
And rising up to your power is not only subjected to your divine masculine, but it's also society, governmental structure,
Yes.
educational
Yes.
system, monetary system. That's what I face most of my time during the this part of my journey. And also that you're not compromising yourself. That even when you may have a moment where you say, yes, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I know what I'm saying, I'm doing, and then all of a sudden you might have a few people come up to you and say, what do you think you're doing? No, this is not going to work. You got to do. Are you going to still continue speaking your truth? Because it really comes along the lines of really opening up that throat chakra and really
Yes.
speaking your truth. That even if someone says something to you that they're attacking you, are you going to continue being authentic to yourself and speaking your path?
Yes.
And even
Yes.
something, what's interesting, what I love about my higher self, she's not separate from me, but she's something else. Is when certain things are pointed out to me, because I know that we may not all agree on the same thing. You know what I mean? If we were, it would be quite boring. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But my thing is here, right? How the new earth um is coming along is in this sovereignty is about you speaking your truth, being authentic to yourself, right? That you
Right.
stay on path with this truth for you, what's true for you, because that's your connection to the divine. The divine chose to have all these experiences played out through each and every one of us individually and collectively again, okay? And the
Yes.
thing is that there may be and there will be others even who are on the same the a twin soul path that will go against what you say and say, no, this is not the way you're supposed to be as a twin. This is not the way you're supposed to be with your body. No, 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 that's not. You're not being spiritual, and saying you're not spiritual enough or you're not Christian enough. And it's like, it's so asinine, really. That's how I
Yes.
have to word it, because no one should tell anyone how their path should be, how much more they're in it doing it. Or another thing that comes in as programming with guilt is, oh, your divine masculine, your divine feminine is not getting in contact with you because you're not doing this. Don't allow yourself to be trapped into that mind game, okay? Because that's
Yes.
how things were from the beginning. Anyone who's in that what they call separation cycle, I don't call it a separation cycle. I call it the energy of what must come together in a greater unification field through the time of when you may not be in the same physical space, but it's still happening simultaneously, whether you are aware of it or not, whether you're aware of it or not. Okay. And it has to go through the stages of pushing and pulling, whether you're in contact with each other or not. Doesn't mean that everything has come to a standstill. If you don't feel the energy of your twin or who you're connected to, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It's just that the divine sometimes puts it into a place of where you are not able to feel them, and now they're starting to get the
Rest.
signs and the messages, and you're able to proceed with where you're going, and then you come back together again. And it could be whether in the physical space or the non-physical space. Some of you
That's
may
true.
have never met your twin. It doesn't mean that whoever has met their twin is better than you. You are mastering something here about true love, right? And the essence of this true love as it shows up, whether or not the person is in your physical space. Can you trust your path? Can you trust your connection through this person, through the divine, whether you physically met them or not, and that you're not crazy? Some of you may have only met your twin one time, okay? And that's it. And there's no way of contact. Are you going to trust what you are being shown individually to do with your personal path, or you're talking about this to someone else that's going to look at you like you're crazy? Really,
Right.
what's important for you is about you and you alone, okay?
And
And
that
how,
requires confidence. That definitely
yes,
requires confidence, because even if you're
yes,
going against religious figures, if you're going
yes.
against, your
Your
family, if
family or friends, yep,
friends, I'll tell you, I've heard it from all angles, from family, from friends, what have you. And I'll tell you, they'll say, oh, well, this is witchcraft. And anything going
yes,
outside of what is so-called the norm, you may be chastised for it. And it's recognizing your power to the point. And when people ask me, how did you grow up in the church and you're here and you're doing this, I will clearly let them know that this is my path, this is my purpose. And
that's
just
right.
like someone else can hear from God and hear their purpose and purpose for other people, what makes what makes them more ordained or more powerful than myself? Is it because you went to school? Is it because
Mhm.
somebody else said it was okay for you to do it? Is it because somebody else says you were prophetic and now it's okay? So it's again, it's if man is judging man right now, and I really
Exactly.
believe that the
Yes.
only judge is above. So if you have people that are coming at you, judging you for your path, your purpose, your being, then there's a problem. I mean, and
Mhm.
those are the things that you need to realize, that those people don't have the right to judge you. And anybody else who says so, I would speak differently. But trust me, many people out there feel like it's okay to judge other people. And I really have a problem with judgment. And I did want to
Mhm.
go back to what you said in regards to the government, because I
Yes.
mean, there's so many changes that are needing to occur. And even with the government structures, the law structures, all of that was for a reason and was a purpose to put everybody on this straight and narrow path. And I just believe truly that this path that we've been on is expanding, expanding, and a lot of people are not going to like it.
Yes.
They're not going to take kindly to it.
They're not taking kindly to it at all. And this is where the lovely Uranus and Taurus comes into play, because it plays a hand in what's breaking down with the structures and the norm, especially to do with relationships, how we interrelate with one another. The institution of marriages, okay, which came about with the government and the politics and the church, okay, all about how you should be and how you should feel and how long you should be married for till death do you part, and you're dying inside anyway, and what's forced upon you, not being able to be in your own personal freedom, being able to be your true self. Okay. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're a married man or a married woman. Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you're single for so long. Why are you single for so long? You need to get married. You need to have children. Why don't you?
Yes.
It's all this
Yes.
pressure that is placed, or what we allow to be placed. I rather say it that way,
Yes.
upon
There you
ourselves.
go. That's
What we
right.
allow, because
That's
it's
right.
what you allow. It's what you allow. Do you
You
see
don't
what I'm
have to
saying?
allow it. That's
That's
true.
right.
You don't have to
That's
allow
right.
it. That's
Yep,
true.
yep. So even if there are a number of people that will come up against you, or us, I should say, we're still
Yes.
going to stay true and strong in
Yes.
our power. This is where
Yes.
it comes in these times. Every time when Pluto is transiting and there's Scorpio, I'm like, oh Lord, what's the, you know? And this is
Yes.
what yeah, and it's just meant to be, and it is going to happen, and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop what is happening right now, whether they choose to believe it or understand it right now or overstand it, you see. And
Yes.
key thing, what I loved what you said, Marlena, what I spoke about too, is a judgment. There's so many people out there that like to place judgment on something that they don't understand. They don't have all the information. They're not even trying to realize that we are ending all these cycles of stuff that has no longer served humanity. You see,
Yep.
no longer served humanity. And it goes back to ancient times, to ancient times. We're really ending the cycles of separation. We're ending the cycles of even the have and the have nots, is what I call it. Those who have and those who don't have.
Yes.
Things that should be evenly distributed. Some of you may be going through very deep financial issues. Okay, which is also a part of the path into where we placing our attachments to money. Are you also choosing to manifest coming from your solar plexus, or do you feel that you can only manifest by physically doing things? This is where spirit will take you to another level of how you are viewing and how you are moving through that change of how you attain things in life, okay? And the
Oh,
belief
I said
systems that are
bartering some
surrounding it.
time ago.
Oh
I
yeah,
said we were
I
turning
talk
into
about
a
it too.
bartering system a long time ago. I
Yeah,
said you better figure out how to do something, because this dollar,
yeah,
I'm telling you. And
yeah,
where I work, I'm not going to specifically say where I work, but where I work, I'm telling you, the dollar means nothing. I'm so serious. I'm
yes,
no joke. And
yes,
and it's this perception. So again, it's like this false perception that has been constantly, put in your minds and constantly repeated as if
yes,
something is worth something more than it really is. And that
yes,
value is really within. And so you have to be careful where you place your values, because I
yes,
believe that we're all going to come into where you put your value is what's going to soon be just disintegrated. because you're going to realize where you're putting your value right now is worth nothing. And you
Yes.
really need to realize where the value is. And I'm telling you, your heart could tell you better than anybody else can.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And also to remember that there is power that comes with the twins. Very, very magical power. And so in the beginning of time, there was this energy of changing things around, like, oh, I can do this by myself, or I can create this in another way. And this is where the divine masculine turned away from the divine feminine, because the divine feminine dishonored herself, you see. And so the experimentation and everything started. So I talk about all these things in the book that I'm doing. It's an audiobook called The Return of the Garden of Eden. And I talk about how when this magic returns to you, and you realize even more of who you are, right? And what you attain and what's coming in new on the earth right now with the power that we have. And this is where you're coming back to it with integrity, where again, it's not about what anyone does to control another, or trying to take over the world, or anyone else from them not being who they truly are, are here to be. Do you see what I'm saying? And the power that comes with the pair is something that has never been templated on earth. Okay, it has never lasted for this long. It has never been played out in its greatest form, in its greatest version. Okay, and this is power without doing anything. It's a power that's ignited within you, that's coming up, that's in motion already. It is in motion. But we must keep going through the healing stage of whether it's the generational stuff, right?
Yeah.
Also healing the womb chakra. Okay, healing that womb space.
Yeah.
Opening up your mouth and speaking, the throat chakra. How much are you expanding with what there is for you to express, and not being in fear of it, or fear of, oh, if I put anything out there, what someone may say. People are going to say
Right.
anything no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So who cares?
Definitely.
They're still going to talk
Yep.
anyway. And sometimes people like
Yeah.
to talk shit when they don't have all the information. And
Yeah.
instead of someone attacking on someone, why not just stop and ask and say, hey, can you explain to me what you're talking about? Instead of attacking. If you don't have all the information, don't attack on someone. Everyone has different ways of how they're expressing. Everyone has different ways of how they're delivering the information. And we're still all here to bring on the information as we're moving through all of this
Yeah.
collectively, okay?
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
filtering through this collectively as well, okay?
And I
And
would
even
like
if
to
someone else, pardon?
And I would like to do some healing as well from a collective level, especially for, I want to say the divine masculine and the feminine, but I want to do some healing because we also got a question here in regards to, your twin running and things of that nature. And I know chasing your twin sometimes may seem arduous. So, I mean, you may feel like you're chasing, but sometimes you just need to keep still and allow them to go through their path. So do you mind
Yes.
if we just take a minute real quick? Because I did want to start off at least with some type of just energy work right here, especially for those people who are
Yes.
here and coming on.
Yes. Yes.
Because I feel like some energy definitely needs to move for some of those people who are feeling stuck out there. I do want to make sure that we just uplift this energy, tap into Mother Gaia and
Yes.
just appreciate all of those that are around us at this moment. So I just want to breathe in and breathe out with you guys, just to let you guys know.
Sana shokoto mirara. Kinala kusambo tusira tishara kinene tedokune. Kunila na
And sending
bitekine
healing, our healing energy to all of us,
tisine.
clearing out the old
Shano kumere.
mind frames and breathing in the new.
Tishkoto
Letting go of
tushkirna.
stress.
Ala ne kinala vira.
Because I feel so much energy right now. I really do feel a lot of energy right now. And I came on this and I was feeling it before we even came on.
Salama vizito kunidara.
A very strong energy. And I feel like it's partial frustration. I feel like it's partial fear, hesitation, and trying not to move. And I just would like to hopefully help bring you guys into a better sense of peace a better place of understanding.
Understanding.
Definitely
Yes.
a better place of understanding. And I just want to usher in a sense of peace and patience as well as we're moving and as things are moving, helping you guys to breathe through this. And when you're feeling these attacks and when you're feeling attacks from others, being able to work through it, walk away, whatever it is that you need to do in order to keep yourself in a state of peace. Everyone is on a different level. I see here Roxanne is coming in, and Anastasia, absolutely. We're all on different levels. And so don't judge one another as to where you are. Just recognize that we're all here to kind of uplift the collective. And that's what uplifting those higher vibrations worldwide is what's necessary, absolutely. I feel the cooling air now. Okay, I'm feeling a little better
Yes.
now. So.
Me too. I'm feeling it too. Yes.
Necessary. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Lord.
it is quite a bit of energy moving through all of this. It really is. I always say this, that we're very brave to incarnate in this time, um to go through all of this transformation, and especially when you're facing your own darkness, and really having to really be one with it, and attaining greater wisdom. So I'm in gratitude for the wisdom and the clarity that we receive. So that we allow ourselves to be open to receiving the messages, whether it's in a waking state or a sleeping state. And letting go of the frequency of disempowerment, letting go of the frequency of allowing anyone to tell us what to do and who we should be, that we also have the courage to walk away from that which is not the highest and best for us, that we also remember the ability to let go and to surrender. That you keep remembering yourself and remembering the avatar that you are, remembering the supreme being that you are, remembering who you are and where you came from the beginning of time, how you were created. You're remembering your divine self as well as your human self, and that there is no right and wrong. It just is. We're in gratitude for the oneness, and that you are able to remember that everything that you see, that you're releasing any projections, you're releasing any fears or anything that you may be looking at and viewing from the physical eye only, and that you're remembering things from what is from the third eye. And we are in gratitude for what we do remember in each moment of now, remaining present. As we're stepping forward in this oneness. And so it is. Say.
There's a lot of pressure right now, a lot of pressure. I can feel it. And it's about, I feel like it's about this coming into oneness with your power. It is, I feel like many people are hesitant. They're not quite sure if it's okay. And I want to tell you, it is okay. You have to, this is definitely that time to come into your power.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a level of confusion, of different perspectives. And your third eye is going to give you the perspective you need. Your intuition. If you guys don't understand what that is, your intuition, what do you pull to do? What is it that is heaviest on your heart to do? It's not what other people are telling you to do, it's what you know you need to do. And coming into that. So, whew, hopefully you guys are feeling a little lighter out there. Hopefully you're feeling a little lighter. I do want to remind you guys, if you guys want to do a personal question, a personal twin flame question or reading while we're here live, it's now 7:52, and you guys can email me to let me know whether or not this is something that you want to engage in. Otherwise, we're going to continue and move forward with our messages. But if towards the end you guys want to go ahead and move towards that, the description, everything is in the description below. Again, my name is Marlana and this is Sharon Andrea, and you're on Graceful Healing Intuitive Tarot right now. And this is Sharon Andrea from Sharon Andrea's channel. She's doing a book called The
Return
Return of the
of the
Eden.
Garden of Eden. Yes,
Return of the Garden
the
of
Garden
Eden.
of
She's doing
Eden.
an audio book where she's getting downloads and messages from the divine in regards to her, the message that she needs to give to us. So I would encourage you to check out her channel, check out the messages that she has brought forth. She has a lot of messages that's come forth from the past, present, and the future. If you guys have not already, please make sure you guys thumbs up. The energies that are here, trust me, we're feeling it.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And anybody that's out there that's feeling a sense of, anxiety or depression right now, I want to just send you some healing. I just want to send some light your way, and just because I can feel the energies as well right now. So to kind of clear those energies and definitely ground yourself to Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia is here to help us all.
Yes.
Um, And right now, also, this is also that time. If you need to ask for help, if you need to obtain the guidance, you need to obtain. Sharon is here. I'm here as well. But we can give you the help that you need in order to help you move through your experiences and take it to a deeper level to where you're able to understand what you're going through, help you heal through what you're going through. As I say on my channel all the time, it's about getting to the core of your issues so you're able to realize what it is that you really need to kind of dig up, bring to the surface, and heal, honor, and then, work through it so you can be able to better move forward on your path to get you away from feeling insignificant or feeling that you're not on the path you should be on or what have you. If you feel any question towards that, normally I guide people to follow their intuition. I can help you and I can see along that path as well, but we want to guide you and help you get you to the place where you can better understand your own path, because nobody understands it better than you and your guide. So definitely take this time to honor yourself, honor your guides, honor your child self, honor your guides around you, Mother Gaia, the universe, because I feel as though we're all being ushered in, and this is fate that's coming. Fate is working in your lives right now, whether you believe it or not, and if you believe in fate or don't. But I'm telling you, fate is working, whether you believe it or not,
Yes,
whether you want to believe it or
absolutely.
not.
Yes. So, Marlena, I wanted to answer two questions.
Sure.
One, I think Anastasia was asking,
Yes.
what do we have to say about runners in a
Yes.
twin flame relationship?
Yes.
Um, okay. Again, when I use the words, which I know they're used for all this descriptive purposes, um, and some people use it as running and chasing. Well, what it is that remember that the twin flame is one soul, your soul occupied by two individual bodies. Okay. And what happens when you come into that first contact? You're in this beautiful energy. You feel so much blissfulness and love and high heart, and ooh, it's so exciting. And it's almost like you can't stop thinking about this person daily, and it goes both ways. It's not one-sided. Okay. And what happens is it's not only going to bring in the blissfulness, it's going to bring in the pain. It's going to bring in stuff that's going to show up in your physical body with pain, like stuff from the past. Okay. And it's also going to break down the walls of anything that you've attached to from your experiences from past lives. And it's going to trigger your twin as well, because you're a mirror. You're a mirror to things that show up in his or her reality, to what they may not want to look at. Also fears, okay, and also the blocks that exist. And another thing that plays a part in this is also the divine. The divine may have a specific time that you're going to, because no matter what, if it's fated for when you're going to meet your twin and when you're going to not see them, and when you come back together, and in and out, it goes in, it goes out, it goes in, it goes out. That's how the cycle of the energy goes. Also, another thing too, and it's not subjected to this is the way it is meant to be in terms of when you do see them or not. It's just the way how it's all orchestrated. Like I said, there's some who have never met their twin and they know they're on that path. They're feeling that connection. There's some who may have met their twin only a few times. There's some who are seeing their twin almost every week, every day, and they're still having to go through the push-pull energy. Okay?
Mhm.
It's happening again in different stages and different cycles and different wavelengths. Okay. And so I don't really use the label as runner, because it makes it look like as if the person is physically against you and they're running away from you. And that's not what it is. Believe me, your twin wants to be with you just as much as you want to be with them. And you know deep down in your heart why you're not to be in the same physical space. Okay. You know why. And there are some, which I'm one of them, where it was shown to me by the divine and my twin that there were times that we wouldn't be able to physically be in the same space, because it will hurt other people, because there's other people that have to be lifted up to a certain level of consciousness before we
Yeah.
can be together. That's another reason why this happens. Okay. So I know some, may not
I'd
feel the
also
way.
like to I'd also
Mhm.
like to piggyback on that, because I was a runner myself, if you want to claim that. If you want to claim that word for me. I was a
Yes.
runner and I felt like they were a runner too, if we want to use those terms. But really,
Yeah.
personally, I was running, I knew I was running from a very strong connection. I knew I was running from like a level of love. And it's not just from that person. I wasn't running really from that person. I was running from this energy of this ridiculous amount of love that I never,
So overwhelming.
never could even,
Yes.
I could never fathom. And whenever I would even put myself or get close to that space of love, not just even, again, this is not just a partner, this is that energy surrounding that love in as a whole. And it was so overwhelming to me. Honestly, the way I felt was, if I was to step into that energy, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here long, because it just seems so like, almost like I was like expanding to like everyone. The level was just so major to me, and I just didn't understand it, and I didn't want it at the time. Let me put
Mhm.
that there. I
Mhm.
didn't want it at the time because I wanted something more tangible. I wanted something more physical. I wanted what the perception of what it should look like. I wanted that because I was still in that space. So again, just like she's saying, everybody's not ready for that. And your partner
Yes.
may not be ready for it. They may be scared of it, whatever it is. But in my
True.
case, I
That's right.
ran from it. And then once I realized it, I was good. But then now you got to wait till somebody else gets good, right? So it's not just once you're okay, now everything's going to come into play. Like everything's going to be all right because you're fine with it. But now other people need to get there too, and divine timing is working. So I just want to explain that to you as well.
Yeah, and also too, the energy and the connection is very intense. It's not like a regular soulmate relationship, okay? And when
Right,
I say regular soulmate, I'm not trying to say the soulmate is not important. All I know is
right.
that there's a huge, huge difference between being in the
Yeah,
presence of your twin than if it was just a soulmate. And
yeah,
so another thing too is that because there are things that are mirroring between the pairs as far as the what shows up on both ends, and everything to how you feel. I'm gonna say this again, everything to how you feel it's still reflected back to your twin. In other words, if you're saying, oh, my twin is so and so and so and so, you're talking about yourself. You're talking
Mhm.
about yourself. Again, you're speaking about yourself. And when you are coming back together in that physical reunion space, that is because both parties are in a greater sense of inner balance and an inner union of peace with themselves individually and in their full power individually. So that way it's not off balance, so to speak. Okay.
Right.
So that's another reason and another thing that also takes place with twin pairs.
Although I do want to say sometimes you will feel like it's imbalanced. You may feel like you're giving more than them, and they may feel like they're giving more
Yes.
than you. So this
Yes.
is a push-pull type dynamic to where you do
Yes.
have to assert what it is that you need. So if some of you are in those types of relationship where you feel as though, okay, well, I've been given too much. Now it's time to receive, and vice versa. So you now have to also sometimes set boundaries. I mean, in this physical space as well, to where you can recognize your, again, this goes back to, again, your self-esteem, your power, your confidence. Because again, once you get to that place, you will start to realize that by you asserting yourself and your confidence, you are also helping your divine masculine or feminine, you especially divine masculine. Once the feminine asserts their confidence and assert where they're supposed to be, trust me, you both will start to rise together, and you will start to come into your, as you're coming into your power. So I do want to let you know, don't be afraid of speaking your truth, speaking where you need to be, things of that nature, because again, this is all a part of your journey to get you to where you guys can come together in full union and in
Okay. So
a
yes.
balanced union.
Yes. So here's another good question. Sharonda was asking what to do for twin flame experiencing no communication, spiritually have grown, and you want him to come correct. First of all, lovely, it's not about wanting someone to come correct because they're already correct because they're you. So um, that is where the control comes in. I want this person to be this way. And this is about loving them unconditionally and not placing judgment on where you think that person is because of how it appears in your
Yes,
reality. So
yes,
when you have no communication with your twin, I say this, you are having communication, but are you listening from a different ear? Are you allowing yourself to feel what is happening between yourself and your twin with this connection, where you're not codependent on having to hear from them physically or only or physically at all? I will tell you this, I have not seen nor heard, I haven't seen my twin except twice in this lifetime. Okay. 2014. And I've had more communication with him than I've ever had, whether I've seen him physically or not. And I'm not falling apart. Okay. So, because he's with me all the time, he communicates with me. Even yesterday, he communicates with me with music that is just astounding, with his name popping up with the song, which I didn't even know it was going to happen. So, it's real. That's what's real
it
for
is.
me. It's the
It is.
supernatural way of how we communicate and connect to one another.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to hear and feel the connection without having to hear physically from this? So, it's a different type of listening. Okay. And
It is.
that's something that, no judgment, but just to help you to navigate how you get closer to the connection you have with yourself, right? And how you communicate, and how are you viewing your own communication with yourself, okay?
Mhm.
Rather than if you're looking outside of yourself for this communication, okay? And that you let go of any judgment you place on your twin as saying whether or not they're correct or they're not doing this, certain things because of where you're at. You know what I mean? Because that's what also creates the barrier between yourself and this person, because you're really thinking they're this way when they may not necessarily be that way. Okay. So I just
Right.
wanted to explain that to you in the dynamic of how this energy works. Because it's energy, it's an
Absolutely.
energy. Okay. And you and this person are on the same frequency, even though it may not look that way, but you are from that same frequency. Even if your twin was not incarnated the same time as you are still on that same frequency. Okay.
Wow.
So I just want to let you know. Yes.
And I did want to say also to just let you know also, again, you may see your twin through dreams. I mean, even daydreams. You may see them, and they may not always come to you in your dreams looking like your twin either. They may look
Exactly.
like
Yes.
something,
Yes,
someone
that's
different.
true.
They may even
Yes.
represent or look like somebody else you dated or was with or what have you. Or you may even have feelings for, what have you, but you will see the difference. That's what I've been seeing as well. So although it's, and I will know when it's my twin, I know when it's my twin. So therefore, all of that to say, the energies are not just, although you can see them manifest in the physical, it's on a spiritual level. You will see a lot of communication and feel a lot of communication on a spiritual level. You may even astral travel to them or what have you. I've had even, I'm a little shy to say that astral sex type thing or what have you. Even that intertwining on that level where it's like, again, an intertwining on a deeper level. It's not even physical. It's on a whole nother plane. And it was amazing.
Yes. It is. It is. It's like you're walking around in your physical body and your higher selves is making love, that's what it's
Yes.
like. And you're feeling all of the energy within yourself. You know what I mean? And it's real. This is real. This is real. So another question or statement I think someone says is, what if you're not sure? This is Elisanda. What if you're not sure if it's your true twin anymore? Okay, so this is what I talk about with anyone who's not sure whether or not it's their true twin, and then they may place a label on a false. They call it false twin. I don't use those words. Or maybe someone is a catalyst, okay? Or someone can just be an aspect of your twin. Like even what Marlena described, I've had that experience where my twin shows up in my dream, but he doesn't look like how he looks now because that's who he was in a past life. And how I know it's him because I feel the energy, because I know the connection I have with him, because I know who he is. And how do I know who he is? Because he's me. No one can tell you who your twin is more than yourself, because it's about you, because they're you. And I know it's hard sometimes to grasp it, because it's like you're looking at it like this person, and how could that person be me? They don't, it doesn't make any sense. But yes, it's like they're either the female version of you or the male version of you. And it's really the honest truth. And I say that because of my own example of when I knew what I knew what I knew, and nothing could change my mind. No one could tell me otherwise because of the
When
things
was
that
that
he.
pivotal moment? When was that pivotal
Pivotal moment.
moment for
Okay.
you?
Okay. The pivotal moment for me. It's a good question. Okay. So he found me. He found me actually since 2006 because he was coming in my dream state. I would never see
Mm,
his face.
yes,
And
yes.
he was coming to me in two different forms, as a slender guy, and then there was also a version of a bigger guy. Okay. And then the final sort of dream, this was like 2010. So we're talking about all those years, right?
Right.
2010, I had a dream where The Rock came to me in a white truck, and
The
he
Rock,
drove.
The Rock.
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. That's right. You heard me. Came to me in the dream. And he
I
said,
love
"Oh,
it.
Sharon, I love you. I just want to be with you." Okay. So when my twin found me and he looked just like The Rock, his body frame, I was like, oh my God. And he had a white truck. And I was like, oh
Wow.
shit. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was one
Wow.
sign. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Awesome.
Then
Yeah.
when he connected to me, it was on a social media site. Every single thing that I like almost literally every single thing that I like, he loves to do. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, and I kept telling people, oh, I met this guy, and he's like 99% of what I'm looking for. So all those little strange things. And then of course, many of us, we start out, we're still wondering, what is this? And is this person the one? So on and so forth, because that's what it is. It's like the one, the part of your soul is looking for the one. And so you call up somebody else, what do you think, and they're like, no. And then it's like a part of you's like, but that doesn't make sense, that can't be true. You know what I mean? So what
Hmm.
sealed it for me were two things. One, when I saw how so many things were duplicated in his apartment. And that's when I was like, tag, this is really weird. How he has everything like what I have, duplicated, and he was not in the same area where I live. Never met him a day in my life in the physical world, okay? And I realized even the way he described me in words is the same way how I would describe who we were in a past life when I was Nefertiti. And so that sealed it for me. When I saw how we looked the same, like how we looked then, that sealed it for me. And it's like, nothing can change my mind. No one can tell me anything otherwise. No, 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 no. You know what I mean? And that was it for
Right.
me. And everything just
Right.
started to unravel and unfold. So another thing that I talk about in the book, many of us who are on this path was someone of a great, I would say, status. Okay. And when you uncover and unlock deeper, I'm talking about really going deeper with this journey and not just on the surface. And when you uncover and unlock more of who you are, you become even more empowered.
Yes,
Okay?
I agree. I agree. And I
Yes.
want to tell you guys, I contacted Sharon in regards to a past life regression session. I've also gone to others in regards to past life regression sessions. And I'm telling you, by me recognizing and seeing who I was in all these different lifetimes, and I've always been in some, no. I've had dreams also, but the ones that most people bring to me are normally the times when I've been in power in one way or another, helping people in one way or another. But I've even had my own past life regression dreams where I would wake up knowing that was me, in the water carrying something in my hand with other people, or as a man in, in like Utah or something, or 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 as a farmer, or as a witch, or being burned, or whatever it was that I had to go through. Even through some of the past life regressions, I've learned of me even having to sacrifice a child or what have you. I mean, the things I've had to learn to realize why I am who I am today, because I'm very strong when it comes to, again, my purpose is feminine empowerment. And when I see all these past lifetimes and what I've had to go through in these different lifetimes, back to Africa, back to wherever. I mean, it's just so many lifetimes. When I
Yes.
see that and bring it all here, because I've always been bringing forth my gifts from all those lifetimes back to here. That's what I've been purposefully doing, and making sure I bring all my gifts here. By doing
Yes.
so, this allows me to then feel stronger in my power, because I do believe that I've always never been or never felt as though my power was as powerful. So when you know you're in your power, when you know who you are, when you know who you were, when you know, and you can bring all those lessons here today, then you know who you are. Nobody can tell you any different. No one ever
Nobody
can
can
take
tell
that
you
from
any
you.
different. Nope.
No one can take it from you.
Nope.
And you don't want anybody to take it from you. And if you know that and you're strong in who you are today, no one can take it from you. Go ahead, please continue. I'm
You had to
sorry.
take a deep breath with that one, right?
That was a message that had to get
Yeah.
out. It
Oh
had to
yeah.
get out.
Oh yeah, and and the thing about it is that so many things that are undeniable. When you're at that point where it's undeniable,
Yeah.
when you allow spirit to show you the way, to lead the way, your higher self, source energy, archangels. I've had Yeshua visit me, Mary Magdalene, with messages and things to do with myself and who I am in the past life. And I've even had Queen Tai visit me. It was very weird and creepy, but I just knew what the truth is, and that's it. The truth is the truth is the truth, and the truth shall set me and us free.
Yeah.
You see, and many of us
Absolutely.
have been someone of ancient times, okay?
Yeah.
And so when you unlock the keys, that's it, because there's keys and codes that we all have within ourselves, okay? You have it with yourself, with your twin, and also with someone else who's also on the same path, and we call them twin rays. And then you're unlocking the with things that are keys within the collective, okay? Keys and codes. And when you unlock another key and code to who you are, it opens up something else greater. Yes, it's going to open up the not so good things and also the good things, because I had to go through deep, deep purging and pain from the past with who I am was, okay? And so
Yes,
it
me
still
too.
comes with that when you
Too.
open that Pandora box. But
Yeah.
again, you need both sides to bring in that greater strength of self, you see?
But it's a healing. So even though you
Yeah.
bring in that pain, because I know I could tell even during like one of my past life regressions, it was like I didn't want to go through that door. It was a door. I knew I didn't want to go through that one.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll go through these other ones.
Like you
I
want to
don't want
slam the door, right? It's like you want to slam the door.
to.
Like, get away.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't want that one. And so when it was time, I had to face that. And so
Yes.
many times, you're going to, again, going back to that question we had, you're running away from the truth because sometimes the truth is ugly. The truth is what
Yes.
it is. And you may
Yes.
not want to deal with it. But if you deal with it, then you are
Yes.
able to heal from it. So sometimes when even if you contact one of us, you may hear something you may not necessarily want to hear, but it's here to
Oh.
help you heal. It's to dig it
Yes.
out so you can heal, face it, and move on. I have friends of
Yes.
mine who to this day refuses to believe what I do, but they will call you and they will call you and ask you for advice, and they don't want to hear your advice. I
You're
just got to a
so
point where I was
right.
like, you don't want to hear it? I don't think you really
Yes.
want to hear what I have to say. You sure you
Yep.
want to hear what I have to say?
Yes. Yep.
I don't think you really
Well,
want to hear what I have to
yeah,
say.
I'm at that point where I tell anyone, I said, my only time that I would say disclosure, well, just remember, if you're interacting with me, whether it's a reading or talking, you will get triggered. I told
Yes,
somebody, I told
yes,
somebody day before yesterday, I said,
yes.
can you imagine if I had a twin flame party and we had all the divine masculine and feminine together? We'd have a trigger fucking party.
Yes, yes. Who you
Woo!
telling?
Trigger, trigger,
Everybody will be
trigger.
triggered.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it can be intense with ourselves and still the way how Mother God described it to me, that there comes a time where we have to rip off the band-aids, okay? No more oh no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And sometimes there may be times when you will be led to opening up a bigger door and you might not want to open that door. And if we try to avoid it, you know what happens? It's going to come back up again in another way through another. It's happened to me already, right? I was like, oh, I don't want to look at that. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that. Oh no. And then it came up again, and I had to face it. And I've had to face, die, disintegrate 1,000 times, surrender 1,000 and more and more and more. Even if you think so, I've chosen not to dishonor who I am and to go through the acceptance, and we all go through the layers of this, because when you start uncovering your greatness and then you realize other people, you might be looking for other people to validate your greatness, and just know that you don't need anyone to validate your greatness, okay? And I sometimes would sing how great thou art, okay? How great thou art, because there is so much of you that is it's so profound with what you can do more than you realize. And with this, there are people who may not understand it, and it's just, you just have to let that go. Like, really, really let that go, because if we allow ourselves to stay behind because of what someone may not really understand, and when you're given enough chances of trying to explain and explain, after a while you're just like, that's it, you're tapped out. It's not worth it anymore. Because even at the pace that we're accelerating right now with all of this, anyone who's not caught up with you, it's okay, because they may catch up another time. That's happened where I had, no contact from a friend for months upon months. And then by the time she reconnected back to me, she was caught up, because it was not meant for me to have to show, because we must come back to ourselves within on our own. It's a self journey. It's a
It is.
self journey. See?
Mhm.
So remember that it's a self journey. And that you don't have to beat yourself up whether or not, if someone else may know more, this sort of, be still and be okay with where you're at, because if we were all at the same level in the same place, I wouldn't even want to visualize what it would have been like if we all awakened at the same time.
Oh, Amy. Oh my God.
I was like,
I
I
think it
was
would have been
like,
a war or something. I mean,
oh
I
my,
don't think many people would have been okay with it. I mean,
oh
personally, I also believe because definitely like during the witch trials and things of that nature, I've done a lot of research when
yes,
back to then. That's
Yes.
what was kind of happening. And you have these women that are here to help heal and things of that nature. And guess what they did during the witch trials?
Hmm.
They were burning them. They were getting rid of them. They were
Yeah.
chastising them. I can
Yep.
even go back to even how medicine started in the Western. We're going to have to do this another time, but even in the West, here in the U.S., how medicine came about as far as getting rid of herbalists, getting rid of witches, getting rid of that mind frame and all of that, so they could create a whole nother structure again around money. So again,
Yes.
there's so many different things that have been occurring, and if we would have all been awakened at the same time, so right now it's just a matter of us taking back that power. And I do want to quickly state, because I know I asked Sharon, when was her pivotal moment, but I did also want to share with you my pivotal moment, because I knew it for a long time, and I got dreams as well, just like you did, as far
Yes.
as seeing a male figure, but not seeing the face.
The
I could
face.
hear the voices, but I couldn't
Yes.
see the. I could remember, and even people that would come to me, because I believe there was another soul mate that I had to meet up with, even for a short time, even
Yes.
hearing them and having the same exact conversation with them when I see them in the physical. So I was seeing, but I've known my twin flame for over 20 years. So knowing that, I already knew. So when I start seeing this figure that looked like a shadow, I was like, who is that? I like that. Forget this. Who is that? And I'm like, yay. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's the same person, huh? And that's when, so I started to see that too. But my pivotal moment was when I really wanted to let go. I've been married twice. And when
Yes.
this person was starting on their journey of doing the same thing, it was like a trigger for me. And at that
What do you mean?
moment, it
What do
was
you
like,
mean by
wow.
that? What do you mean by that? This person? You mean that they also went and got married twice? That's what you mean?
Oh, well, no, no. But yes, when they did get married, I don't know how many times they got married, but nonetheless, yes. When they went and got married that one time, it was like, wow. It was like this, like it was like almost like a heartbreak that I kind of had to go through, a disintegration of what I thought was for me. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's with someone else. So when I went through that, it was like this final releasing of these expectations, releasing of everything that I had set in my mind of what it was supposed to look like, the way it was supposed to be. I was like, oh, you're supposed to have children with
May I
me.
interject for a minute there? I'm being guided to mention this because I know there are a lot of twins that go through that where their twin goes off and get married to someone else or they're in another
Yes,
relationship. Um, when you were married twice, that person that you were, those two that you were married to, they are your twin. They are the reflection of your twin. They're like, it's two different people. You are living out a version of energy in another time at that moment. Okay. Till you
absolutely.
finally chose yourself. Now it's switched places where your twin got married to someone else, and that's you as your twin playing out that version of getting married to that person in the male form. Okay.
Yes,
So a lot of times what happens is as we're going through different timelines, you're kind of collapsing some and converging some at the same time. The convergence happens through the person, the individual persons that you are, and it's just that part of the twin that's converging until it gets back to that 0 point. And so it's like your twin now getting married is coming to that place where they have to go through these cycles of karma to end it off once and for all. You see what I'm saying? And just keep
absolutely.
staying in your knowing, keep staying in your knowing and your power with what's really happening here. Do you know
And
what I mean?
and actually, I was the one encouraging it, actually, because I felt exactly what you said. I was like, okay, I've done it. I know I had to go through it myself, my cycle also, and whether it be for children or what have you, whatever the reasons you
Yes.
feel as though you needed to get married.
Yes.
So I knew I went through it myself, so I knew they needed to go through it. So when it
Yes.
happened, although I was a proponent of it, although I was like, okay, this is what needs to happen, although
Yes.
all of that was happening at that moment, it still to me was hurtful. because that's how I was feeling here. But
Yes.
nonetheless, I knew it needed to happen. But what I really realized was it was, again, me getting rid of this mind frame, what I was attached to, this level of control that I was attached to,
Yes. Yes.
that
That
was
too.
making me feel like this is the way it's supposed to look. So I had to get rid of that. And it took a long time. And I separated from that person for a long time. And even in my dreams, Spirit told me it was time to go back after like a while of me growing myself spiritually. It was then
Mm-hmm.
time, and I said I didn't want to. And that's why I really, when I talk to you guys during my readings, I'm telling you guys, I understand. I'm serious. Like, I've had
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
conversations where I'm like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to deal with this. They're here now. They are doing this now, or whatever it is. Or they
Yes.
didn't treat me right, or they dishonored me,
Yes.
or they
Yes. The
disrespected
deserted, the
me, or
search, and
they
yep, the
hurt me.
abandonment.
And
Yep.
all of these things, you're going through that. And so you're at a place where you're feeling like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I've been there. And I literally had a conversation in a post office parking lot. But I was like, I don't want to call. I'm not going to call. And you going to call. I'm not going to call. I mean, they need to call me. I was in this place of going back and forth with spirit. And I had just had a dream of them crying, of them in tears, of them missing me, of them wanting to connect with me. And I woke up in tears myself because I saw it, I knew it, and I was still running from it. So it just got
Mhm.
to a point where, although I was a proponent of the marriage and things of that nature, I had to realize that marriage can't come between us. Their life and what's going on right now does not matter. And it
Can you stop?
pushed
Can you
me,
pause? Can you pause right there again and repeat what you said? That their marriage,
did not matter anymore.
it
It pushed
doesn't
me,
matter. Yes.
it pushed me into a place of really true unconditional love. Because so long it was conditional. For so long it was based on what they could do for me, or what we could do together, or how we should look to other people, and oh my gosh, and all these things. It was so narrow-minded. Now
Yeah.
it's so much larger. It didn't matter if I was married, if he was married, if we have children, or what have you. It's so much bigger. I'm so serious.
Yes.
It's so much bigger
Yes.
than you could ever imagine. And the love there is so much like
Grander. It's
yes,
grander than the physical contract that exists with what was created by man. Do you see what I'm
yes,
saying? Because people say, "Oh no, marriage is based by comes from God." No, that was man-made, created. The true marriage with the Christ is based on a heartfelt, pure love. A heartfelt, pure love. Again, a heartfelt, pure love where there's no corruption, no feelings of unworthiness. Okay. And when you feel as if you're abandoned, it comes to the point, that place where many of us have felt like we were abandoned by God, or were abandoned by a twin. And really is how or where have you abandoned yourself? Where have you dishonored yourself? Where have you deserted yourself? Where have you allowed someone to take over your life and not speaking your truth? Where have you allowed someone to step and walk over you, or you haven't had the courage to say no and always say yes, or you let someone take advantage of you? You know what I mean? And that's where it comes from. How much more are you giving, and are you also receiving, because of the belief system that you're supposed to give and 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 give and
yes,
give,
no,
and then
no,
there's no
no,
balance and
no.
exchange of energy. All of that plays a part in all of this, you see, and what reflects of self. Because if you were to come back together with your twin and you're still not uh,
Ready?
working through and ready for this, because it's a very powerful connection, then
It
what will
is.
happen is you'll pull apart again and again and
Yes,
again and again,
yes.
you see. So when
And
you
I
are
did get to the
in,
point, and I
hmm
got to the point where I said, never again. I said, this will never happen
yeah,
again.
and
Us
that's
being
what it
apart will
takes.
never
It
happen
takes,
again.
right, and it takes. So
Never.
from a deeper soul level, we thank those who have come along the way, who are as soulmates, or whatever soulmates they've had, because they're filtering through and helping and guiding through your own template that is between yourself and your twin. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, we're collapsing the older versions of self that plays out as you to whoever they're with, because it's versions of yourself, and whoever you've been with, or have contact with that is versions of your twin. So I don't use the word false, because then that's like you're calling yourself false. That's why I don't use the word false twin. And there are some who may come in your life that will be like a catalyst. What if you're working through healing with love? You know, there's some who may feel they're not worthy of love, and so they're going to meet someone who's like a soulmate that you may have some type of relationship with, that'll prepare you for the ultimate one, the ultimate person. You
And I would
see?
and I would like to piggyback off of that as well, because you're absolutely both of them. And I would tell anybody any day, I love them both. I will always love them. I have such admiration and love for both of them, that I have no regrets at all about them. Why? Because I know they grew me. And I would even venture to say one example here, whereas I know and this is kind of hilarious. One time I remember my first husband was, people kept saying, okay, you're supposed to allow him to be a man, allow him, the church was saying it, people around me are saying, well, let them be a man and let them be a man. And then
Mm-hmm.
when it came to and so I did that. And I remember my mother said at one point, so you're going to not pay your mortgage because you're trying to let them be a man kind of thing. Because, I was like, no, I'm going to let them, I'm going to let them make the decisions, and I'm going to let them do what's best in our best interest. But they may not have been grown to the point where they could make those best decisions, because this was in my 20s, And then my
Yes.
second husband, I remember again, I was like, I'm going to let him be a man, and I'm going to just let me give you all my money, and you pay the bills, and you do this, and you do that. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want that responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember my twins saying it some years later, you need to let a man be a man. If you didn't want to see my eyes go like, what? And he stopped right then and there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but it was too late. So I let it rip. I was like, I did that once, I did it twice. I will not do it again. If you are not a man, if you're not in your own, if you don't know you're a man, I can't help you with that. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to
Mm-hmm.
validate you. Like, I'm here for my own purpose. We're here to come together. But I'll be
Yes.
damn if you're gonna sit here and tell me I need to let you be anything. If you're not that,
Mm-hmm.
I was so.
Yes, yes, yes.
But
Yep.
that's where I was, and I was just refusing to do it again. It was like one lesson, two lesson. Did you learn
Yeah.
your lesson? It was like,
Yeah.
did you learn your lesson? And I
Mm-hmm.
had to, yeah, and I learned my lesson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hear you. I hear you. And see, that's the key thing, is that that person has to get it for themselves. You have to get it for yourself, with who you are, for not anyone to tell you who you are, because then what happens is there's a mask that you're placing on yourself, right? and and
Yeah,
and and you're taking away your own personal freedom and that person's personal freedom. So they have to know who they are, and what they're connecting to with themselves, right? To be able to
yes,
connect with you to a greater capacity, where you're complementing each other and not codependent on each other, because there's a
yes,
difference.
yes,
And because what happens is, in a lot of these relationships, is there's this codependency and relying on the other, and then if the other person disappoints you, then it's like, who are you going to blame? You got to look at yourself, and where are you filling
yes,
yourself up with this love, and depending on
yes,
yourself, and being there for yourself. And I'm telling you the honest truth,
yes,
everything you feel and how you believe or whatever truly reflects outside of you. I've seen the change in my personal life recently, with how much I'm honoring myself and my time.
absolutely.
I
Yes,
see the
yes,
difference now. I'm
yes,
witnessing to it. And it really, truly is all happening within you.
yes.
Really. Yeah.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know we're going to have to bring this to an end
Oh, it's okay.
soon
We could
because
go a little bit longer, because just in
okay.
case.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I did want to
Yeah.
just again repeat that, if you would like to do readings right now, you're just gonna have to let me know. You're gonna have to email me if you haven't emailed the email box. I didn't get it yet if you haven't. So we're gonna continue to ask questions. We're gonna continue to move forward. But we did want to again, I just want to let you guys know that this is Sharon Andrea. She has her own channel as well. Check her out there. She does a lot of healing work, past life regressions, obviously mediumships, intuition, readings, awesome readings. So I would say, suggest you check her out as well. She has her website that's below. We also have her email down there below. Of course, my name is Marlana. My information is also below, and my website is also below if you would like to reach out to either one of us. We're hoping to come back here on a regular basis to discuss the twin journey, answer some of your questions. Do we have any other questions out there right now, Sharon, we need to
Let me
answer?
see. I'm going back to see in case if I didn't leave anyone out. Because I know it speeds up so quickly with this. Okay, so she had that.
Yeah, so so like I said, if you guys would like to obtain assistance, ask for help, things of that nature, if you're here, make sure you please thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That is a great way right now where you can support the channel, even if it's not nominally. This is a good way to put forth that energy into us as we continue to go out and continue to uplift the collective, the masses. We really love you guys, and we appreciate you guys coming here and watching, and hopefully you guys feel motivated, and hopefully we're doing a good job in helping you recognize things from a different perspective, because I know so many times you are being told one thing, you feel something different, and then you're
Hmm.
wondering which way do you go, and there sets confusion. And personally, when it happens to me, I start to get a headache. I'm like, okay, which one is it? Which way? Which way do I go? And that's when I
Yes.
also seek out assistance. So did you have
Yes.
another question, Sharon? Did you see that?
Okay, so I saw another question from Sharon, and I love these questions because whenever our questions are asked, it pulls out the information from me, from within me. Okay, so she says, how to find out who you and your flame were in a past life. Okay, when it happened for me, it happened naturally and organically. Okay, like it was led to me. Like when I would say, let me see, this was like June, July, August, September. July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So by the time in the physical world when my twin connected to me, I found out who we were in a past life 7 months later. So that was just spirit led because I was just driving up the mountain and I heard source. This was directly from source energy say to me, do you know who you were? Do you know that you and him were a king and queen in a past life? And then I was like, really, who? Because I just have this curious nature about me, and I can only say that the more open you are, and all you have to do is just say the word, just speak it out into the universe, and they will just lead the
Yeah.
way for you, and be open to how you receive it, like really really open. And it's just in very delightful magical ways that the information will come through to you. Also, what I did is I had a hypnosis past life regression done on myself physically in New York, and I did it in Manhattan. And it did several things for me. One, I was able to gather up more information to what happened during the time when I was Nefertiti. And what happened is it uncovered even more pain. Okay, like really really deep core pain, and I had it recorded, and it is also in the book. And I was
Mm-hmm.
able to see more to what happened to myself that I felt already, and it was like validated through having that session. I've also done my own past life regression on myself where it happened automatically, where I just started tapping into myself and things were just led to me. And it wasn't just that past lifetime either. There were other lifetimes that I uncovered about who I was with my twin. And it was amazing, amazing, amazing. And again, each lifetime there was some pain that came from it, to the point where I had a full name, full background, saw the picture of what I look like, everything, everything.
Wow.
Okay. And my connection to many different lands, and even to Portugal. I spoke in ancient Portuguese. Also, Hong Kong in China, spoke a lot of ancient Chinese. Dialect has come forth, and India, different parts of the South America also, where I incarnated there. I also incarnated in parts of Europe, the connection to Ireland. So there's so much that you can uncover on your path. And again, that is based on how open that you are to it being revealed to you. And that means that you're tuning in, and whatever you hear, you look it up. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, everything just starts to unravel. You know what I mean? And for
Right.
some, you may want to have a past life regression so you can kind of get like a head start. So I'm able to tap into, like I said, to the past, because the one thing that I've spoken about in this book is that whoever you are now, your personality, especially, you are that same person from then. You came in over and over again with the same personality, but you added more into it. You added more to yourself. And you've been both male and female. You've been everything. You've been the giver and the taker, okay?
Yeah.
everything. You've been all things. And it's like really putting the pieces together. The more you fit the pieces to your puzzle, is the greater you are able to get I would say like a deeper wisdom that comes with it, and a
Yeah.
expansion in consciousness, and not even just the physical incarnations, but also your galactic self. When you even tap into who you are in that galactic energy, it's even more empowering. You know what I mean? So, it's all of that put together, how you're able to tap into. And I would say at least 90% of the time, you kind of have a similar look to how you looked in the past life. Because I know there's some people who have, and they realize that they had the same persona. I even saw myself, and there
I
were
did
times
too.
too. I wanted to tell you this. There were times too where I had past life memories where things were not great with my twin, also where he killed me, or killed
Right.
him back, and so it's not just the great things either. So sometimes there are people who have a misconception that it was all about just being beautiful, being in beautiful love, and that's it. You were like really enemies too in
Yes. Yes.
lifetimes. Okay, so I
Yes.
just want to let you
Absolutely.
know. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's so correct. Because I went through that same thing as well in learning about my past. And when I did a past life hypnotherapy regression as well.
Oh, you did.
I did, but I did it here but I did it in the Maryland area.
Okay,
And when I did, but I only did it once. But I wanted to go back a few more times because each time it's like you can pull out more, and hence
more.
the reason why
Yes,
I would talk to different people as well. But I know at least about 4 or 5 of the lifetimes I was a black powerful woman, or black woman who was dealing in with herbs and things of that nature. So,
yes,
when I do my awakening seminars, I'm like, okay, yeah. So apparently, today I'm a witch, and apparently back then I was a witch too. So I'm still a witch. So it
yes,
just
yes,
really depends upon your perspective. But a lot of those same things I still do here today. Even if it, like I
yes,
said, even if I was a slave, I've seen it in that way, to where I was a queen, to where I was a ruler, to where I mean, it was just so many, helping with the Underground Railroad, things of that nature. So, I mean, so
so you're
many
tied to
different
the
things.
Underground Railroad also, or did I say that in the?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
And so, I don't know if you ever watched the movie The Underground. I loved that. Not the movie, the show. It was a show called The Underground. And I was so
Hmm.
stuck on that because I was like, I know I would have been. And I used to say it even when I was a child. I used to say, you know what? I probably was Harriet Tubman back then, or whatever. They would have tried to kill me back then. I already know. And it was just so interesting that when I heard it through my past life regression session, even with you, it was like,
Yes,
wow, I did have that tie. So it's just
yes, yes.
amazing. So again, this is something I would definitely encourage for a lot
I do
of you
too.
to
And for
do.
those who are on their path to, I really encourage you to tap into your past life. And, some people may say they don't want to look at it, but we're in a life review right now. The life review is uh, what's a part of this ascension. There are those who are going through a life review that have transitioned out of their body, but now there are those of us who are here that are doing while we're in the body. And this is a part of the expansion of your soul. This is a part of what is templating on earth with the things that we wanted to be and to do, with how we're again manifesting the desires of our heart. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And where it's not taken anymore, where we're not struggling, it's not a suffering. You know what I mean? Like really
Right.
creating all this free energy to be able to do and to be this. Do you see? So that's the difference between
Right.
then and now. That's right. So everything we've
Absolutely.
unleashed on earth is already unleashed on earth. I mean, I've heard and seen almost the worst things that we could possibly. Now it's like we're pushing through that energy and healing through all that's the stuff, and now we're bringing in the other aspect of the polarity. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's the best way that I can word it. And then once and for
Absolutely.
all, we can put a close. We're closing the door on the Akashic records and everything that has existed that's in that library of humanity. You know what I mean? That's why what another thing that I do a lot is to teach about when you are in a thought of something or a memory of something, don't forget to let go. Like, don't hold on tight to it, because what you're doing is that you are kind of holding it in a space of creating it again within yourself. And then it starts to manifest. And then you're wondering why you stay in these loops. So each time
Precisely.
it's important to let go of the experience that you're having And some say, but I can't, it hurts too much. Okay, allow yourself to move through it through a lightheartedness or singing, dancing, laughing. Laughter helps to transmute out that
Yes,
energy. Okay,
yes.
so that
I
we
personally watch
and detaching.
I
Hmm.
watch a funny movie anytime that I'm feeling down for some reason. I
Yes,
will put on a comedy of some sort
me
and just
too.
laugh and get rid of it.
Laugh, laugh. Yep, yep.
We have
That
one
helps a
more
lot.
question. I do see one more question. I think if you want to
Sure.
close out, I do see one question here. I think at the
Okay.
end here. I don't know if you want to address that one there.
The one
Um,
that's is that from Ilisanda?
yes.
Why is it so hard to let him go if he has moved on? And how do you stop dreaming about him and letting the past hurt or feelings go? Okay. Um, First of all, it's not easy to just let go. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no such thing as letting go, but then there's something called detachment. Okay, and it's going to appear in your reality that he's moved on because that's the way the divine created it. So you start going within yourself. So moved on, whether they moved on to another location or moved on with another person, it doesn't mean that they don't love you anymore or it's over. Because again, those are based on the old relationship dynamics. Okay. So this is about you internalizing now how you're feeling about what you're seeing and what part of you is there to shift with your perception, especially dealing with abandonment or rejection. Okay, you can't stop dreaming about because they're you. This is your connection. It's about how you're connecting to yourself. And whenever you have a dream about your divine counterpart, that's your clue to pay attention to what's being spoken, or if there's no word spoken, what are the feelings that you're having within the dream? What are you having as a message coming across to you from your sacred partner? Okay, um, getting past the hurt feelings, it again, it's a matter of taking it in stages of your own personal healing. Don't put a time to it. Work through it, whether you're going to feel like you watch some comedy again. I suggest dancing. You might go back to that feeling again. It's okay. Just allow yourself to feel through it and to heal through it. Okay, and remember again, what is the truth? What is the truth? The truth is, this is about divine love. This is about true love. How do we get back to true love? We must go through the transformation of the hurt and the pain that we have felt, the stories that have been placed around love. What are the stories that have been placed around relationships? What do you think is true? What is true for you? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what we're doing, is we're coming back to the truth and what's really real. When I think of people, and I laughed, to give you an example, not haha laugh, but then kind of, when I was trying to get something and the person says, oh no, this is only for couples. And I'm saying to myself, well, how many couples are there out there right now anyway? Almost everyone is going through a spiritual transformation. There's no couples, no true couples out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just not real. I question that. I
Yeah.
question that. You see? So look at it too again on what is true right now in these energies on what's real. Because deep down inside, many of them who have what we call moved on, they're not happy. They're not as
Nope.
happy as they would like to be. They're
Nope.
miserable inside. They're going through more pain, more setbacks, more intensity, just as much as you. Okay, if you're feeling part of the sadness and all that stuff, they're also feeling the same thing. I've been
Yeah.
hearing from at least 2 3 people that are in contact with their twin that they're feeling the same feeling as
Yeah.
them. Okay,
Yeah.
crying, sadness, pain, really missing their divine sacred love. Okay, so just know that again, to not go by what you only physically see and to really tap into the inner knowing, because that inner knowing is what's more powerful than what you see. Okay,
Absolutely. And I
that's the
just want to
truth.
piggyback on that because you really got to look at your third eye. And I also pulled while you were talking just some of the things that you need to work on. What's coming up is you may need to go further into your education as well. Expressions of yourself, get some new knowledge, change your perspective. Again, start working
Yes.
on you. Don't concentrate so much on what's going on over there. Concentrate
Yes.
on what you need to do for you. And trust me, the more that you uplift yourself, the more they will feel it as well. But you're not doing it for them, but you're really doing it for yourself. And what also
Mhm.
came out with inspiration, you inspiring others as well. So, you have the ideas and concepts to be able to move forward in that direction and more self-expression. So everything that's coming up for you is expressing yourself. You may be holding it in to where you feel like you're not able to express that person or get it out or something. I feel like you're really holding it in, whatever this is that really needs to be said, whatever you need to do. And maybe you're acting out of character a bit and I feel like you're kind of closing yourself off a bit. So I'm just seeing that you need to kind of open yourself up a little bit more, and just look at other ways, other things to do, kind of take yourself out of this loop that you're in.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's okay to be in love uh with him, okay? Because there's no such thing as saying I'm in love with someone and then all of a sudden you don't want to be, because no matter what, your feelings is the strongest communication. Your feelings is the strongest truth for you. And it's about being in love, feeling this love, and letting go at the same time. Being in love and feeling the love, feeling how it, what it does for you, what it does for your body, your mind, and your soul. And that you are, once again, you're getting past the illusions of separation. You're getting past the illusions of what you see, okay, or what you hear. And it's like you have a choice to how you respond to what is happening around you, you know and set yourself free, because it's when you hold on to how you want it to look, that's what causes more pain, you see.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
Mhm.
agree. Because again, we were talking about how the template is changing, period, over relationships. Everything
Yes.
that you felt as though should have been. And some of you out there have been and have seen these relationships, seen marriages, and it's not real. I mean,
Mhm.
what you call so called real love is a perspective. I
It's a
mean, even if we
perspective.
go back into the history of where marriage comes from and the
Mhm.
reason for it and how women weren't allowed to have power or money or any of those things, it was about joining them with a man in order to move them forward, in order for them to keep their wealth, but they weren't really allowed to have in many cases, hence the reason marriage is well coming together for nominal purposes. So if you really want to be with someone on today's standards, it's usually centered around wealth, material goods, things of that nature. And hence the reason why many of them are, you know kaput.
And
And many, yes,
codependency, with
yes,
wanting things to look a certain way, to say that, well, if he or she loved me, then they would call me, or they wouldn't go run off somewhere else, or they'll,
yes,
it's stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?
yes,
Love is free. It's
yes.
free. It's not to be compartmentalized. If you continue to compartmentalize this, then it's going to you're going to start creating experiences to keep feeling this pain and
Yes,
rejection.
it's gonna
And
hurt.
yeah, there will be a time at some point, as your soul is moving you in this direction, where you will not feel this pain, okay? And you'll have this inner peace, because this is what you're working your way towards, that peace where again, it comes to that balance, that greater balance that you have, where you're in love, you're at peace, you're detached, you're holding on, and you're letting go at the same time. It's
Yes,
like a real aspect of self mastery, you see, how we are
absolutely.
mastering ourselves, because it's when we are mastering ourselves and you become the master of your universe, and that this other person is free to be who they are, and you are, again, you're complementing each other, you see. It's not where it's codependent, like what's placed on marriages, like, like I was
Yes,
discussing in Mike's live, like, who says if you're married to someone that you can't give a compliment to another person, or you can't hug another
absolutely.
person, and all these different taboos
Come
and
on.
stuff, and restrictions and laws with marriages, and you feel like you're in a dungeon somewhere, and
Yeah,
it's all these things that are breaking
it's
down,
like
and
you're in jail.
like
It's
you're in
like you're
jail.
jail. And you
Yes.
wonder why so many, especially men, for the longest didn't want to get married, feeling like it was
Like
feeling
they're
jail.
trapped. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
women were taught to be amenable and all of this and like, oh, I don't mind being in jail while they're running from it. And you're wondering why they're running from it.
Exactly. Exactly.
you know?
Yep. Yep. And so that's why we're reprogramming, retemplating what these old relationships have represented, and create conscious relationships, conscious connections, you see? And that, yeah, and the thing is too, is that it's about, can I feel what's true for me without it being validated? Can I feel this love that no matter what this person says, can you feel what's coming from the heart center?
Can I be
It's
real?
about, yeah, and it's also about becoming heart centered with everyone. It's like I talk about even in the book, you know, when you're having a conversation with someone and sometimes someone will jump to conclusions about what you said, but they really didn't really know what you said. So then I say, well, what do you feel is coming from my heart? Because a lot of times they don't connect from the heart. They're just thinking about what's in their mind and what they're perceiving, instead of connecting from the heart as well. Both together. You see?
Yeah.
So
Logical
it's
versus
yeah,
heart. Yeah.
yes. Because the new communication is really coming from the heart, you know, and not what's just on paper or what someone else says.
Even telepathic,
Telepathic,
which as
yes.
well. Because again, you can feel someone's energy before they even speak. And sometimes you will
Yes.
hear someone's words and feel something different. And you're like, well, I know they feel differently, but the words are, you're going to take their word for it
Yes.
over their
Yes.
heart. you know. So thank you so much again, Sharon, for coming to us out here. I know you have another meeting at 9, so
No, I
I'm
said
going.
no, I said I still have a little bit more time. I said, yeah, I don't
Oh,
think
you
you heard
do?
me.
Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
know. Okay,
Yes,
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 yes, yes. Yes.
yes.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so yes, as like we were saying, so things are changing. So regardless, I just want you guys to come out of this mindset that it's supposed to look a certain way. So if you're feeling down and anxious, and I saw Alessandra who had her message out here, feeling that sense of depression, because it's almost, and I agree with you, it's a sense of um feeling rejected. It's, and many of us, when you're not with your twin, or you're not with who you expect to be with, or your relationship doesn't look the way you want it to look, you feel
Hmm.
rejected. You feel like they rejected you. And
Yes.
that's not necessarily what's happening here. So we need to make that clear. It's not a rejection of you. It may be the rejection of themselves. Just
It's
know
a
that. I
rejection of
mean,
themselves too. Yep, that too as well. You know, and again, it's about, what do you know is the truth in your heart? You know what I mean? And also that the way that we communicate, okay, is changing. We would normally communicate via what? Words, speaking. We communicate through telephone, right? We communicate on the computer as well. Now we're going to be communicating where you don't see what you're communicating. You're feeling it. You're feeling the connection, because
yeah,
that's what's been missing from the earth, is communicating through the heart, communicating through the intuition. Okay? What is the gut feeling, right? That's what is superseding what you physically see. And so if you hold on only to what you see, that's where you can become lost and feeling like, like you don't know where to go from there, and so on and so forth, you see? And it's important to redo, regain, do over the relationship that you can have
yes,
with yourself. Start with
yes,
yourself first. Everything that had been before, where, oh, I got to go be with someone to feel better, or to go out on a date, I got to be with someone. I'm not saying not to go out on a date with someone else. All I'm
right,
saying is, if you're dependent on that person, if that person has wounds within themselves also, right? And you are dependent on how they do certain things so you can feel secure, because sometimes there's people just feel so insecure, and they
yes,
feel like things have to be validated so that way they know that it's real. And the thing,
yes,
what how spirit does this is that you could even say, well, I don't want to deal with this, and I'm just going to forget about this, and I'm going to try to get my mind off of this, or I'm going to try to find someone else. And then all of a sudden you get all these synchronizations and signs and messages and the floodgates and the dreams. And then what happens again? You surrender, right? Right?
yep. You're back
That's,
in the same
you're
situation.
back
It's
to
like
where
you
you
could run
started from
from it.
again. That's right.
Yep.
So it's not
Or you
about
even see it play
forgetting.
out. Or
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
it play out the same way in another relationship, because there's still,
Exactly,
yep,
because there's something that one is running away from. And we
yes.
can't run away from ourselves. We just can't. May I pause for a minute to play something that speaks about this?
Sure, 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 sure.
It's it's a song. This one is what you call it, reggae, okay, by Mr.
Yeah.
Robert Nesta Marley.
Ah, I love it.
I love it too.
You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself.
Ah, you can't run away from yourself.
Can't.
Run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself.
So you see, he knew what he was talking about, when I think about Robert Nesta Marley and the messages that he would give, and no matter what we do, something is always coming to a circle. Something's always coming to a head no matter what. And so all of these karmic endings and cycles of what relationships were about and how we view things, right? How we communicate with one another. Um, what else? How we relate to each other when it comes to community too as well. You know what I mean? And as families, there's restructuring when it comes to the family unit too as well. Where people place their emphasis and how they feel about a mother, a father. It's all of this energy that we're healing so that we're coming to a place where it's much healthier,
Yeah.
freer, right?
Yes.
And there's a
Because
greater inner balance and peace. You
because
see?
I do, when you said that, I started hearing how, because there's a lot of women out there feeling extremely unbalanced because so much of the weight is on their shoulder, and not
Yes.
just family, but the judgment if they don't do things a certain way with their children. God forbid they abandon their children. God forbid they don't take good care of the family, the household, their man, the house, the bills, the everything.
Yes.
A lot
Yes.
of this on ourselves. So, and if you don't do it, then you feel insufficient. So it's like
Yes.
this structure that's been created that if you are not Superwoman,
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
then you're not a woman at all. If you don't have the children, if you don't have the marriage, if you don't have the job, if you don't have the career. And
Mm-hmm.
then women, they want the career, they want the power, they want the money because they're trying to take back their power. So then if
Yeah.
you have one, then you can't have the other, or so you feel like you can't. Like I knew the way I grew up, my ideal of success was to have both equally great. So when
Mm-hmm.
my career went well and my marriage disintegrated, I felt like I was less than. I felt like, and it took me to a state to where even like my memory started going back, everything. And I didn't realize why I had such an attachment to the
Mm-hmm.
outcome or attachment
That's the
to,
word, attachment. That's the
yeah,
thing. It's the attachment that one has on what we're manifesting, have the attachment to it. Because it's like there's an art and a mastering when it comes to letting go. Like you create something, you put it out there, and sometimes you may have to take action. That's masculine, right? And then now there's a time where we have to let go and allow it to manifest, allow it to unfold. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, many of us, we're kicking and screaming. We don't want to do
yes,
something. We're being guided to do something, and we don't want to because, wait, I've done it already. I've done it already. I don't want to do this again. This is too much.
yeah,
And I understand. I've been there. I've worn the shoes. But guess what? We're in a different energy, because you never know what might lie behind that door. You open that door and then there's something else and there's something else and there's something else. And the difference, what's being changed and moving, what we're moving towards is this unity again, where the female is not doing all by herself or the masculine male is not doing all by themselves, because they also hold resentment within their hearts too, because
yes,
there's old slavery
yes,
programming that they got to work and they got to provide for the family, and that
Yes.
it's all on them.
There's
You know what I
pressure
mean?
on them
And
too.
they feel
Absolutely.
misunderstood too. You see,
Yes, they
so
do. Yep.
it's about understanding it and weighing it on both sides to how
Absolutely.
this is. You know what I mean? And that
Absolutely.
it's not where the female is trying to take over. No, we're taking back our power so that way
Yeah.
there's a greater balance on both sides. On both
Yeah.
sides. That's what this
Yeah.
is. That's
I
what
mean,
this
because
is.
it's I think people, and I started writing a book myself, and it's to me in my book I wrote it as the 50s archetype woman. Women are
Yes.
still trying to be that 50s archetype woman in the
Yes.
house, all while doing something different. So you want this house on a hill, you want the dog, the cat, the child, you want to sit in front of the fireplace on Christmas Day, but you don't want the abuse and you don't want all the negatives that came with that. So you're still trying
Hmm.
to fit yourself into this past
This
perception of what
box.
a woman is supposed to
Woman.
be. And
Yes.
so now you're in a state of confusion because back then it was man provide, woman stay home,
Hmm.
me Jane, me Tarzan, and it's this,
Yeah. Yeah.
black and white
Yeah.
perspective of what it's supposed to be. And you're trying to fit today's woman back in
Hmm.
that,
Yeah,
and
and even when you mentioned the 1950s, I'm glad that you did mention the 1950s, because also in the 1950s there was also a separation of the relationships when it comes to intimacy. Okay, and
the two
intimacy
beds,
plays a
the two twin size
very,
beds.
yeah, two separate beds. Also, even kissing, they wouldn't, really show kissing and stuff like that. And that is one of the most pivotal, I would say, parts of how we connect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
that's
it
strong.
sends you, hmm?
The kissing is strong. Me and my divine, the masculine, that's a strong connection just through kissing.
Very, just through kissing. It's like it sends you through a portal and
Mhm.
an energy of, oh my God, astronomical proportions, you see? And even the intimacy of sitting on the lap and hugging, holding
Yes,
hands,
yes,
having nice, intimate
yes,
conversations, you know, a lot of that has been missing, you see?
yes.
And there was like a taboo that was placed on intimacy
I mean,
as well,
hugging,
just as much of sex. Yeah,
just
yeah,
and because it's become a thing. It's like intimacy is only sex. I'm talking about
exactly. The
hugging,
hugging. Yeah.
being connecting, touching, arm to arm.
Yes.
I remember my ex-husband, he used to always want to touch my arm. We used to be right here, like arm to arm, no matter where we went, we were arm to arm. But it
Yes.
was like this connection with him, and he felt comfortable, and it was a sense of safety
Yes.
there with the
Yes.
two of us just connecting, even arm to arm. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. 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 So, you know, and it's like everything that has been placed on earth, it's just been so much of the fear based mechanism, the struggling, the slavery energy, you see,
Yeah,
and no room for love, no room for feeling or being in love, no room to connecting, catering to others. It's all those energies and frequencies that had kept so much of this separation cycle, and it's like 'cause some people, even if when they come into contact, they don't even know what to do when they come into
yeah,
contact with who they're connected to, because they're like, oh, where do I fit this? Because you can't fit it in those old frequencies. You can't fit it in that box. You
yes.
see, this is different. This is a spiritual love. This is a spiritual love. And for many of us, we have felt like something's missing.
I feel
Hmm?
like this spiritual love has been demonized. Like it's like
Yeah.
people create this construct that it should look differently. But it's like if you love on anyone of any sex, of any gender, of any whatever, and you feel this connection, because even when I have people come into my tribe that I know I've been with them in a past life, whether it be
Yes.
through dreams or even just a connection, when I see you feeling this intimacy, even my son, through my second husband, when I saw him, it was this intimate bond immediately. It was like, I know you. And I've
Yes.
never met you before in my a day in my
Before.
life. And to this
Yes.
day,
Yes.
and I've, and I recognize that he was my child in a previous life. So
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that, even my brother, the same way, my child in a previous life, we've had so many connections on so many different wavelengths. And when you're introduced to them again, you're a little fearful, because don't be married. Don't be a woman and it's another woman. Don't be a man and it's another man. Don't be all these stipulations that have been put around it is not for you to be able to be so loving, to be all out loving. It's not allowed. It's not like you're not supposed to,
Supposed to.
and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
wrong. It's wrong.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yep. That's it. So, we some people don't realize how deep this goes, how deep this
Yeah.
goes, and how much there is to transcend from all that old energy, what has been passed on. Because remember, from the moment you were conceived, you're already carrying the energy of what was in place from your parents, your grandparents, your grandparents' parents, and so on. And the way that love has shown up in what they call love, I forgot the word. I think it's an Oedipus love. I forgot the word that they
Agape?
use.
What are you talking
Huh?
about? What, agape?
Whatever
No.
different archetypes of love, the archetypes of love or whatever, and it's like it's this is not what it's gonna this is not what it's gonna look like. It's not gonna
Yeah.
be the same. Are you willing to let go of what you were taught or what is ingrained within your DNA, as you're creating a new DNA of what true love of the heart is? And true love sometimes means letting go. Like, are you able to let go of who you're connected to, even though you know the truth? You know what I mean?
Right.
Are you able to see past the boundaries that have been placed by mankind and yourself? You see,
Mm-hmm.
it's all of that, or is it going to trigger you?
Yeah.
Is it going to trigger you? That's the thing. Because, I look at it too this way, because I always weigh all sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when people say, oh, it's only about you and it's not going to happen in this lifetime. And, there's no such thing as romance in this. And I'm like, really? Well, we are creators. We're co-creators. There's a reason why we co-created everything that exists, in and throughout this lifetime. And so it's just that the way how it's going to exist is not the way how it was or is now. It's just going to look
Right.
differently. You see? It's just going to look differently, because I find that when love is missing, people become cold, disconnected, they become bitter, angry. Really,
You,
really.
you know what's reminding me of this right now? Does anybody watch Game of Thrones? Okay, because
My children do.
oh
Everybody's
my
talking
God,
about it.
because the Targaryen, Daenerys, the Targaryen, oh, what's her name? Anyway, the dragon mother, the mother dragon.
Uh-huh.
She flipped the script in the last. This is spoiler alert. So if you watch Game of Thrones, I'm just telling you, she flipped the script in the last episode to where it was like she had lost everybody she loved. So it came from this place. Her whole purpose was to bring everybody into their freedom and love and things of that nature. Get rid of all the masters and slavery and all the hierarchy and all of that, and come into this
Mm-hmm.
place of fairness and make sure everybody eat and love and all of that. But when all of that was stripped from her, it became vengeance. It became something totally different. So that just shows you, when people are without love, how things people will come at you, how people's perceptions will change, how things change. Love is powerful. And
Yes.
usually you hear about it, God is love and things of that nature, but then people put stipulations on the love.
Yes.
So now when you think and you're awakening and you come into a higher level of consciousness, if God is love and we're all loving, shouldn't we love everyone? And then so when you start to become judgmental of those who are not like you, is that
Yes.
love? Is that unconditional love? Is
Is it
that so?
unconditional?
I mean,
Yes.
you hear it and you agree with it, but does it make sense? So it's about disbanding these myths, because a lot of these things have been put into place to keep you still in a subservient role and not to fully come into your power. And it's time
Exactly.
for you to rise up no matter what
But
anybody says. It's time.
that's right.
It's time.
That's
TikTok,
right.
it's over. It's
It's
their time
over.
is up.
Yep. Yep.
structures are being torn down, it's
Mm-hmm.
time to create a new structure. Time, and it's just time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I totally agree with that. And it is breaking down. And again, what's important is to trust your own inner gut feeling in what this love is, you know, and this love is surpassing that physical person. It's greater than this physical person. This is like the love of the divine that's showing up through this person and all things and everything. Can you see it? Do you see it? Do you see love in all things, you know, and how it is
Mm.
communicating to you, whether it's through the birds, it could be the spider, it could be the trees, it could be anywhere at any time, because it's expanding. It's not, you know, love expands, right? Hate
Yeah.
and anger contracts, and it hoards and it hides, and the fear, you know, that's what it does, and it closes down. But when we allow and can see beyond, that's where the expansion comes in, you know, and that's where it becomes delightful like a child, you see.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Again, it has to do with your changes and how you're feeling inside, and where you can shift the dynamic of where things were before and where we are now. So
Absolutely.
yes,
And
yes,
and it's that time. It's just that time, guys. So, I hope this helps you to let go of some of your
yes.
past perceptions. That's what we're here for. We're going to continue to get your questions and continue to answer those questions over time, because I feel like this is necessary. And I feel like I'm swaying like a grandmother right now. Like, I feel like I want to say, I feel like I'm in church. I feel like,
I have a beautiful song I would love to end off with, if I may.
yes.
And it's an invitation to love. It's an invitation to love. And it goes back to that time when it's, you know, the divine masculine is always searching for the divine feminine. And it could be in any form, okay? And it's like, can you hear the calling? Can you feel your divine masculine within you? Can you feel that connection, right? Can you be in delight of what you see and in gratitude, you know, because there are those, again, who have never met their divine masculine or divine feminine, okay? They don't know what they look like. They don't know, but they're still feeling something. They're feeling a connection, right? So
Yes.
can you feel it? Can you come deep into this feeling of what it means to the name of the song I'm gonna play? I'm gonna play it right now. I hope I found the right one.
We
Yes, I
like to
did.
hear you go.
Sea of Love.
Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you how much I love you. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew
I'm all
you
giddy.
were my
I'm like,
pet.
yay, I like
I
it. It's
want to
uplifting my
tell
spirit.
you how much I love you. Come with me to the sea of love. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I want to tell you how much I love you. Come with me to the sea of love.
let it play all the way. See?
Beautiful. I love that song. Yes. Thank you
Yes.
so much again, Miss Sharon Andrea. Her information is below. And like I said, she has a wealth of knowledge. And we just thank you for coming. And, this requires a lot of both of our energies in order to bring this information to you. I started off with a very heavy energy and I feel much lighter because now I've gotten it out to you guys. So I feel good. I feel a lot better.
Me too. Oh, it's awesome.
So
It's
thank you
awesome.
again for coming. I look forward to
Thank
seeing
you
you
for
again
having
soon.
me.
Thank
Yes.
you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your questions and thank you for coming on this live chat. We look forward to bringing forth more information to you guys. Continue to, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe to the channels and continue to watch as things progress because it will help you as you are awakening to this new twin flame, divine masculine and feminine journey. It's imperative that you guys just recognize that things are changing so you don't feel rejected, feel like you're going through these same cycles. It's time to end the cycle, bring an end to these cycles. And like we said, with all the planetary alignments, things are changing whether you like it or not. So either you can come kicking and squealing, or you can go back and see the same, or you can calmly move forward the way you need to move forward. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'm going to end it here. Miss Sharon Andre, did you have anything else or do you want to say your goodbyes?
Just want to say, guys, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to give you these divine messages and stay in love, stay in your heart, and be kind to yourselves. I love you.
I love you guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.